What did ancient Romans use if they didn't have toilet paper? Well, they used a sea sponge on a stick. It was known as xylospongium, and commonly they were used in communal bathrooms, so people would share this stick. Disgusting. In ancient Rome, gladiators were like social media influencers. They would pose for posters and art and would be sponsored by brands for olive oil and other products. They truly were celebrities of their time. This one's kind of funny. The Roman Emperor Caligula tried to make his horse a senator. His horse Incitatus was his favorite, so he wanted it to be a consul to the Senate. He apparently pampered the horse so much that it had purple blankets, a marble stable, and gold flakes in its food. Ancient Romans loved to draw graffiti. They would scratch characters into walls, and in a lot of cases write pretty graphic stuff into the walls. Here's an example of graffiti from Pompeii. These are depicting two gladiators. And here's another example where there's so much text that it's practically impossible to read. In ancient Rome, gladiators were not the most popular event. Chariot racing was by far the most popular. These races were first held at the Circus Maximus. Crowds of over 200,000 spectators would watch the events. Commonly, racers came from a low social status background, but some could become celebrities and gain a lot of money. Racing was deeply embedded into Roman culture. There'd even be processions in the streets of Rome that had the drivers, dancers, musicians, and statues of the gods. This was an important sporting event for Rome, and it was almost like their present-day NASCAR or F1 races. Ancient Romans washed their clothes with human and animal urine. The traces of ammonia in urine cleaned their clothes. In fact, they preferred aged urine. So technically it works, but that still doesn't make it any better. In the Roman Empire, there were female gladiators. A female gladiator was called a gladiatrix, and they fought the same opponents, whether it was people or animals. There was a fire in Rome that destroyed 70% of the city. The Great Fire of Rome started at the Circus Maximus in 64 CE. It lasted for a whole 6 days, and the actual cause had many theories. One legend states that the Emperor Nero started the fire because he didn't like the Christian community. It even goes further and says that he played the fiddle while the fire was occurring. One of the ancient Romans' favorite pets were ferrets. In a lot of cases, ferrets were actually a replacement for cats. Ferrets were used for hunting, but they were also used in cities to control rodent populations. Romans used urine as mouthwash. They'd use human and animal urine because of its ammonia content. Ammonia would wash and whiten teeth. It got so popular that the Roman Emperor Nero taxed urine. Wealthy individuals wanted urine so much that they were willing to pay for it. They would even pay people to collect the urine from cesspools that the lower class would relieve themselves in. The Colosseum in Rome actually had a different name. The Colosseum is a nickname, and it roughly means building of the Colossus. There used to be a giant bronze statue of Nero right next to the building. The Colosseum's original name was the Amphitheater. It wasn't until years later that it became known as the Flavian Amphitheater. This was the name of the dynasty that funded the Colosseum. Julius Caesar was bald and was very self-conscious about it. As a result of his baldness, he wore his wreath commonly. This was done to hide his baldness. Plus, in some cases, he would do a comb-over to hide it. Have you ever forgotten someone's name? Ancient Roman royals would hire people to tell them names of people they didn't remember. These people were called nomenclators. They'd also announce when this Roman royal would appear at services. Ancient Romans treated cabbage like a superfood. Roman doctors believed that it could cure and prevent ailments. In one example, a doctor suggested that a person inhale the fumes of cabbage boiling to improve fertility. The Roman Emperor Tiberius tried to ban kissing, specifically banning it at official functions, and it was done to prevent the spread of disease. Ancient Roman nobility would hold mass dinners where everybody would lay down and eat. This was mainly done to help prevent bloating, and these people would literally stuff themselves, so laying down gave them an advantage. The Romans believed that eating butter made you a barbarian. For Romans, butter was used as an ointment for injuries. Outside of that purpose, it was seen as a lower class food, so nobles avoided it. Roman gladiators would have their sweat put into vials and sold to people. It was believed by Roman nobles to help with their skin and cure ailments. Ancient Romans held a special event in the Colosseum. They'd flood the arena and place boats. This was for full-scale naval combat. Ancient Rome had a job in which your only role was to pluck hair out of armpits. Their job title was a lipolist. This person would use a pair of tweezers and go to Roman bath complexes. How much money would it take for you to do this job?